Hello everybody and welcome to Darkslayer TV. This is of course Darkslayer bringing you some more StarCraft 2 action. And I have fantastic news. Some people sent in some replays, which means I have things to cast. And holy crap, my wife for ire. That is fantastic, just like the StarCraft 2 match. In the top right corner, we have our blue Protoss. The one, the only, I hope this is the correct button to spin my camera, Fastman. And spawning down here at the bottom right of the ladder map, you like that? Is the one and only Red Zerg, the man or woman who sent in this replay, Scientist, who is currently using the tournament little icon next to their hatchery. So they've been winning some tournaments. This is a platinum level game. Scientist, I believe, is a random player. And the only reason I say that is because he or she sent in 3 replays. One being Zerg, one being Terran, and I think the other one may be Protoss. So they are playing all 3 races. So random it is. So our Zergy player going for the hatchery first into gas, into pool, which means we'll be seeing a very quick speed out of our red Zergy player Scientist. Our blue Protoss player actually not walling off immediately, but he should be fine due to the fact that he did go hatchery first. So we shouldn't see any pressure coming too early from our Zergy player. But this map is really good for Zerg players. At least I think it's good for Zerg players. I don't think it's particularly overpowered for Zerg. I just think they enjoy this map for plenty of reasons. You've got a ramp here, you've got a ramp here, which can lead to defending your natural being a little bit harder than normal, unless you build, like, you know, a Protoss wall right here, maybe put a cannon up or so, but you really don't see that in Legacy of the Void. Forge expands almost non-existent, especially considering the compositions that people like to go for. Those quick early adepts, potentially those Phoenix harassing units that take out the overlords and things like that. So the Forge Fast expand just doesn't really nurture those kinds of builds. Maybe the Stargate a little bit, which is actually what we're going to be going for from Fastman here. Going to be going for that Stargate, so we could see those Phoenixes that I was talking about. And he is going to finish his wall off with a Zealot. Now this is interesting in Legacy of the Void, because the Zealot isn't something you see very much of. It's been replaced quite heavily by the Adept, because the Adept is very good at dealing with that light armor unit, and it's still a nice sturdy unit that can take damage. So the Zealot has kind of gone the way of the Dodo, unfortunately. And we do have some Lings on the field now, going to be trying to take out this probe, and they may get it. In fact, I think they will before it can get away. So first blood goes to our red Zerg Scientist, who still hasn't teched anywhere particular, but he does have his 3rd down. So he's going for a very macro-heavy build. Nothing we're going to see that's too aggressive. And just trying to go in there to start attacking these probes, but a nice placement of this pylon with the photon overcharge does send those Lings packing, protecting those probes just long enough. Which, as a Protoss player, I have to say, this is really smart. You know, I would be too busy trying to wall or come up with something to keep the Lings out, but honestly, having these pylons in position against a Zerg player that's not trying super hard to go for your probes is all you need, and I think I hear a noise that I personally love. Ugh! That Phoenix going in for those overlords, and already does have 1 killed. Decides not to go in any further as Scientist. I about called you Scarlet, which I would assume is a compliment, considering Scarlet is an amazing Zerg player. But he does have the Spore Crawlers in position. He does have a couple extra, not ghosts, but queens. So the Phoenixes aren't going to be able to get a bunch done. But still, nonetheless, I think they already have 2 kills on Overlord. So already good nonetheless. Plus, they're going to provide the Protoss with tons of scouting information. The creep spread has begun from our Zergy player, which is really good in the spawning positions they're in, because it's not going to take very many creep tumors to get to the Protoss's base. So if the Protoss doesn't deal with that creep spread, then that Zerg is going to be able to get in there and start doing damage quickly. And we do have a pickup on the Queen here, and I don't think they're going to kill it on the first pickup. They're going to have to pick it up one more time before they're going to be able to kill it. And not moving down the other Queen to try to protect it, deciding it's not really worth it. If we look over here at our Zerg base, we do have the Roach Warren completed, and we are almost done teching up to the lair. Now, whenever that lair comes out, we're going to be able to see Ravengers, and Ravengers are ridiculously good against Protoss in the early game. They start to slow down how good they are as the game progresses, as you get things like Immortals and Devastators, but they're still good nonetheless, as they do more DPS than the Roach, and they can also destroy the Protoss force fields. We have the third coming down from our Protoss player. No real tension coming in from the Zerg. However, the Phoenixes are back in, going ahead and picking up a few more drones, getting quite a few more kills actually. Gonna try to get those hits off, but unfortunately the Phoenixes are just too fast, and that mortar shot doesn't quite make it there quick enough, and the Phoenixes will get away. And we have a transition actually into Void Rays. Void Rays are going to be coming out here by Fastman. So we have a huge cluster of sentries and zealots into a backed up by the Void Ray. So this is going to be a quite interesting composition. This is the kind of composition you would see early in Heart of the Swarm, back when they were trying to still make Sky Toss possible. To be completely honest, I'm surprised to see this composition. Usually, when you open with something like Phoenixes, you're trying to force a Zerg player to go into things like Hydralisks. And as we can see, Hydralisks are on the way here for Scientist. So, honestly, those Zealots, Sentries, and Void Rays are not going to be able to do a whole lot of damage to a mainly Hydralisk composition. Normally, whenever you want to use Phoenixes and you force out those Hydras, you want to get things with AoE, High Templar, Colossus, you know, Devastators, things that are, or not Devastators, Disruptors, things that are gonna really take advantage of those squishy units. But our Protoss player is deciding to get a second Stargate here and really start up that Void Ray production. Now, Void Rays do melt Hydralisks fairly quickly, but the problem is that Hydralisks melt Void Rays even quicker. And so I'm really curious to see how this composition is going to work coming from our Protoss player. Our Zerg moving on to their fourth base, and our Protoss also moving on to a fourth base. So this Protoss is doing a very good job macroing and making sure he keeps his main from mining out and getting oversaturated. That's something that happens a lot in Legacy of the Void. The main mines out very quickly, and people don't have a fourth ready, so you have a lot of oversaturation. But Fastman, too fast for that, and not gonna let that happen. So continuing to pile on Zealots, we have one Immortal and spinning that gas on the Void Rays. But the amount of Hydralisks coming out right now with the addition of the Ravengers is going to make this a very hard composition to break. However, with some good force fields, don't get me wrong, this army right here could still do a ton of damage versus Hydras because they can't run away and the Zealots will get straight to them. However, let me take a look here. I don't think we have Charge researched. In fact, we have 2 Twilight Councils and nothing researched. Charge actually just now starting, and we're going to get the Adept upgrade for the 45% increased attack speed, which once again is sort of an odd choice, but I don't know. We're going to see. We're going to see what Fastman can do. Maybe he's too fast for Scientist and ends up taking this game. So as I said, the creep spread is already making its way over to Fastman's base, and it's not really, it didn't take that many, like I said, a couple jumps. What, 1, 2, we'll go 3, 4. 4 jumps and we're already almost to his third base location, which he opted not to grab. I'm guessing due to the spawn locations. And here we go. The Hydralisk, Roaches, and Ravengers are starting to engage here, but with the Phoenixes in position, neither player really wanting to engage here. And oh my god. 10 lurkers are now morphing in for our Zergy player's scientist, who is capped at 200 supply. I wouldn't be surprised as soon as we see these like finish morphing, a huge push on Fastman, who actually added Archons into the mix. He is researching Storm, but he doesn't have any High Templar or the energy yet to make that actually become possible. However, here we go. The Lurkers are moving forward to try to get into a good position. They are down. Does the Protoss player have an Observer? And I don't think they do. And the AoE is insane. That ball is not going to last very long whenever it's engaging on those Lurkers. And the Roaches are now on a chase down, destroying every single one of these freaking Zealots. The Zealots, oh my god, just barely getting out of there. And just as a, to answer my question, yes, there are Observers on the field. There are actually 2 on the field. The Zerg player now moving over to this right side, seeing that the base isn't there, moving the Lurkers up to get to a better position to begin the siege on the natural here for our Protoss player. And the Lurkers are getting owned right now by the Phoenixes, getting picked up, and the Roaches and Hydras were not in a position to defend them. However, they're going to engage anyways, and the Protoss army is taking a huge hit right there. The Protoss cannot trade army for army versus a Zerg like this. The Protoss is not going to be able to warp in and create an army fast enough, whereas if you look at the production tab, our Zerg players already got 15 more Hydras, 3 Roaches, and 20 Marines, or Zerglings, on the way. And 2-2 is now finished for our Zerg player, and our Protoss is sitting on 2 attack and 0 armor. After taking an engagement like that, he doesn't really have the finances to rebuild an army quick enough. The Zerg player is already sitting at 200 supply again, and another attack is going to be on the way. The engagement was not good enough. There were not enough force fields, and the Protoss just lost too many units. The Zerg can max out just like that. While the Protoss is still sitting on 161 supply, it's not completely over, but with that many High Templar on the field, he needs to morph them into Archons, as I don't think he has the energy for Storm yet. The Lings are going in and already picking off most of those High Templar. The Zerg army is splitting up a little bit, but he's murking his way up here into the natural, and the little army of the Protoss doesn't look like it has much of a chance as the Hydralists move forward. They're going to start individually firing down upon those Void Rays. And there's not much left of the Protoss army here, but those Zealots are ripping away quite nicely with the last warp in there. Maybe, just maybe, he'll be able to hold this off, but I really don't think so. If you look at the production tab, 33 more Roaches are on the way for Scientist, and Fastman with the well played. Congratulations, Scientist. You won this episode of me casting StarCraft. I don't actually have a name for it. Why did I even end it like that? Who cares? It doesn't matter. Scientists, thank you so much for sending in your replay. You were the first replay I got, and I appreciate it greatly. Remember, guys, to send in your replays to DarkslayerReplays@gmail.com. It is in the description below. And as always,